Fincher, Lang, and Joplin. An essay by Justin C. Bartlett written on March 20th, 2016. This essay is from the Dime Store Cinema WordPress blog. Let's talk movies. Think for a moment, if you will, of Billie Holiday singing Summertime. Sassy and sad, right? What about Ella Fitzgerald? Soulful and powerful, yes? Now, Janis Joplin. Joplin took this song and found her own passion in it. In doing so, she created something haunting and intriguing. Movies are a cultural mirror. As such, the only way to remake someone else's art is to express a current societal passion within existing and often irrelevant content. For this reason, remakes are among the hardest types of movies to craft. It's not enough to make what is, for all intents and purposes, a good looking film, because even at that level, it will strike the audience as unnecessary. To succeed, the movie must preserve everything that is timeless and replace everything that is irrelevant. Essentially, the task is to present a new story while telling an old one. In general, I have a hard time accepting the necessity of remaking a piece of art. I have devoted my fair share of time mulling over which stories need to be retold. There has been only one that has woken any sort of passion in me: the 1931 German film directed by Fritz Lang, M. There are two things I need to note briefly before anything else, though. First, this movie was already remade in 1951. The shortcomings of this remake is its lack of depth. It turned a provocative, boundary-bending piece of cinema into a straightforward noir flick. It was fine, but in no way expressed the same level of characterizations. Second, this movie is a masterpiece that cannot be improved. The aim, as with any remake, should not be to improve the story, but instead to find the culturally relevant issue and present it to a modern audience. M depicts local desperation to catch, prosecute, and punish a serial killer. The societal tension leads to the criminal element getting involved in the manhunt. The suspense Lang creates is palpable. The claustrophobia looms as an entire town closes in on the killer. Peter Lorre pitch perfectly plays Hans Beckert, a man whose violent compulsion forces him to kill children. His torment is revealed when he is caught by the mob, for lack of a better term, and put through a mock trial. I have to admit here that I do not speak German, so I am at the mercy of the translators. Despite the inherent weakness of translation, Beckert's defense for himself is one of the most haunting and poignant monologues ever put to film. He describes the pain of his guilt only being surpassed by the nagging of his compulsion. He compares his need to kill to a fire burning him. The only moments of relief he experiences are the fleeting moments when the life drains from his victims. Somehow, this monster, this killer of children, is humanized. He becomes the most sympathetic character in the movie. Further, his monologue is a harsh indictment of the criminals holding him captive. He posits the query: who is more evil, the man who is compelled to do evil, or the men who freely choose to do evil? I don't think many contemporary viewers will really grasp the cultural significance of this movie being made during the time of the burgeoning Nazi Party. Much of the audience may not realize that this film was made around the time the Nazis asked Lang, a Jew, to make propaganda films based largely on his work Metropolis. These are all cultural elements, subtext if you will, that make M particularly profound. Now that time and culture has passed and moved on, that subtext is mostly lost. I mean, these days we use words like fascist and Nazi as casual insults. There are timeless elements, though. The most notable elements are our perpetual demonizing of the sick and our kowtowing to the wealthy. These timeless elements make reimagining this film feasible and, I believe, necessary. The director must be David Fincher. I find Fincher's direction to be similar to Lang's. Similar, but modern enough to ensure we are not subjected to a shot-for-shot remake. I can already hear the clacking of the keys. Didn't you see his remake of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? It was shit. and immediately makes your opinion stupid. Look, I'm not going to argue with you about the merits of that film. All I'll say is the direction is not the problem. Fincher's attention to detail, aesthetic, and ability to handle uncomfortable content make him an ideal candidate to helm a movie about a child abductor. Beckert must be played by Steve Buscemi. Buscemi is the only modern actor I can think of who could fill Peter Lorre's shoes. He has the piercing eyes, unique appearance, and vulnerability that are absolutely necessary for this role. I'd honestly pay just to see him deliver the closing monologue. I know my voice carries absolutely no weight, though, so if this film ever does get a remake, they'll get some young up-and-comer and turn it into an action thriller. We'll be no better off than we were in the 50s. Money is all that matters, and entertainment doesn't need to be held accountable for its own actions. Thus, we are forced to sift through the mountain of garbage. Sift away, my friends, sift away.